Hi, I'm Bill the Geek, and today we're going to talk about immigration issues. This is somewhat of a lengthy video, but we're going to talk about all the issues of immigration that you could ever imagine. All the different types of visas, all the different types of residencies, the type of temporals that you can get. So I'm bringing in my immigration attorney team and asking them questions about the FM2, FM3, FMN, permanent residency. How can you get most of this done while you're in the United States before you come down? This is going to be very informative. There's a lot of information to be had here that can save you a lot of time, money, and frustration. One thing you don't want to do when you come down here is to get deported. Being legal in Mexico provides you with many benefits. The attorneys are going to talk about it all. So be patient. This is about a 50-minute video, but this video is going to tell you everything you need to know about immigration in Mexico. So here we go. We're shooting this at the Lake Chapala Society. I asked questions through the video, but I'm going to record all the questions here so that you can hear them very clearly. When I first came to Mexico, I didn't know anything about immigration law. I didn't know anything. All I knew is that you got on the airplane, they gave you some type of paper, you filled it out. And then after I was here for a few months, I figured out, oh, I can stay 180 days. But after 180 days, then you had to leave the country and come back. It's a real easy thing to do, except I was in Puerto Vallarta, so I would have to drive, get a bus, fly an airplane, go to the United States, come back. Then I was legal for another 6 months. So I did that for about 3 years. I've been here 16 years now. It's February, today is February the 21st of 2021. But then some things happened and I got a car, and then I had to get a 2-year visa for legal reasons. Also, sometimes I forgot to update my 180-day visa, so I had to do special things that weren't really legal to get out of the country to come back in again, which wasn't a lot of fun. I got stuck at the I got stuck in the Mexico City airport. They weren't going to let me go back to the United States because my visa had expired. That's a long story. You don't want to go through that. I do know people that have been deported down here. That's no fun. The government puts you on a bus and they send you to the border to wherever they want, and there you are. Good luck, okay? You want to be legal down here. This video is going to show you the benefits of being legal, the different types of way to be legal, and how to get it done in the most easy, efficient manner. The people that I'm getting ready to introduce you to, I've been working with them for the last 6 years. These people helped me get 3 2-year visas and a permanent visa. I have a permanent visa in Mexico. There are many benefits. I never have to go to immigration again. What I love about these people that I'm getting ready to introduce you to is that they are extremely knowledgeable and they are extremely honest. These are really honest people, and they give you the best prices and they'll work very hard for you. What these people can do for you, it may take you months to get done, and then you may not get it done right. They can get things done for you in a day or 2 days or maybe a half an hour, and that saves you time and money, and you don't pull all of your hair out. So this is a long video, but it has all the information that you want to know about immigration into Mexico, how to make it happen very easily and affordably.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Álvaro Becerra. Yeah.
and this is Noemi Toscano. Well, you can introduce yourself if you
Hi,
want.
my name is Noemi Toscano. I am Alvaro's assistant attorney.
And I am Alvaro Becerra, and we work together, and we have a law firm, and the law firm takes care mostly of immigration and naturalization matters, right? So we are out over there, right?
Very good. Well, let's ask some questions here.
Okay.
My first question is, what are the various forms of legal status for immigration in Mexico?
Okay. You or me?
Oh, you okay?
You. Okay. Basically, we have three different legal status for people in Mexico. You can be a visitor, and a visitor is a person that comes to Mexico only for 180 days, from 1 day or a few hours up to 180 days. And a visitor can be a person who is entitled just to visit as a regular tourist, or a visitor can also have a working permit depending on the situation. It's not very common, but you can have a working permit. The other two status that we have in Mexico are temporary resident, that would be after 180 days and up to 4 years. And after 4 years of living as a temporary, you can apply for the other status, which is a permanent resident, or depending on your pension, your income, or your situation, you may apply from the beginning to permanent residency. But basically, we have three different legal status: visitor, temporary, and permanent residency in Mexico, in general terms. Okay, that would be something that I'm forgetting that you may like to add.
No, that's complete.
Okay. My second question is, what is an FM2 and what is an FM3? Thirdly, I would ask, do those two forms of status still exist today?
Okay.
Nope.
An FM3, I'm gonna take that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I saw your scary face. Yeah, she has been working with me for the past 4 or 5 years. But this talks about the old system. Before this immigration law that we have now, we had a different law, and that other law talked about before residents and visitors that I was talking before. They talk about non-immigrant, immigrant, and inmigrado. And the common name, those are the legal names, and the common name that we had for those status were FM3s and FM2s. So basically, a non-immigrant was an FM3, and an immigrant was an FM2. There was the legal name, and then those were booklets, and the booklet on the front had this letter, FM2 or FM3, and that's why everybody was so familiar with them. But till today, there is many people that consider and they think my FM3 or my FM2, but that's no longer applicable. And the reason for us this question and answer this question is to mention that if somebody keeps talking about FM3 or FM2, that refers to the old law, so the information maybe not be updated or not be correct, because that is from an old legal system that belongs to 2012 and before that. So, okay.
Very good, very good. My third question is, what is an FMM? And how long can an FMM last?
Okay. FMM card is the Forma Migratoria Múltiple, which is the paper slip given upon the entry to the foreign people, and it is valid according to the information that it's included there. Okay. If you come here as a visitor, it will be crossed the word visitor, and it is valid for 180 days. But if you come here with a residency visa, it will be crossed the word canje, which means exchange, which that implies a procedure that we will apply down here, and it is valid only for 30 days. But all the people who come to Mexico will be given this form. Okay, it doesn't matter if they come here with a visa, with a residency visa, or just a tourist visa. See?
Okay.
So, yes, basically the FMM is the document that proves that you enter this country. It really doesn't matter how you got it. If you went to a Mexican consulate before coming down here and you got a special permit to travel into the country, or if you are just coming, for instance, a United States citizen or a Canadian citizen, they only need to have their passport. And once they have their passport, they jump into a plane or drive to the border, and upon entry, upon crossing or arrival, they would get this FMM form. That would be, as a tourist, as a visitor, it would be valid. It can be valid from 1 to 180 days. And when we was talking about the other part of the process, when you were already applying to be a resident,
Yep.
and they also give you this FMM form. But when you are on your way to become a resident into the country, they give it to you this, but it's only good for 30 days, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And the validity of the form is indicated in the form itself.
It's written down by the person that receives you, either at the airport or at the border. The guy who is taking care of you will write down 30 days or 180 days, depending of the specifics of your entry.
Okay. Okay. My fourth question is, do I need to get a permit to visit Mexico as a tourist?
Some countries request a tourist visa, but for example, in this case, the U.S. citizen, Canadian citizen, they don't need, just as Salvador mentioned it, it is only with showing the passport that's enough for they are authorized to come to Mexico.
And usually they request that the passport has a validity of 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Before expiration.
Yeah.
Right? So they ask you to have that. But yes, it's important. For instance, the United States and Canada do not need a visa to come. But for instance, with other countries, let's say Guatemala, most of Central America countries, Cuba, Peru, Ecuador, right? All those countries require to visit a Mexican consulate prior flying into Mexico. They need a specific visa to enter Mexico, and that needs to be obtained before taking your plane to visit Mexico. But in general terms, the US, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, all those countries can just bring your passport and they will be granted a visitor FMM for 180 days if you want to come to Mexico. The other countries is recommended to check before. If they, something that it's quite important to, if you are not a national of any of those countries, Western Europe, Canada, or the States, but you have a green card that allows, let's say you are a person from Algeria,
Okay.
living in the United States as a green card holder, just with the green card, this person from Algeria can also come because he is considered that he has gone through a process of checking by the US authorities, and because of that we also allowed. Or let's say a person from Albania who lives in France and has a residency permit to live in France, that person can also, or the Philippines need a visa to come to Mexico. But if they have a residency card in Japan, with that residency card, they can come to Mexico. That's something that we use some other residency countries, and then we allow them to come. Otherwise, if you are just a Filipino living in the Philippines without a permit to live in a different country, you would have to go and apply for a Mexican visa before to come, even as a tourist.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. My fifth question is, how long can I stay in Mexico as a tourist? I think you've answered that.
Yes. 180 days.
My sixth question is, other than being a tourist in Mexico, to get a different form of visa, a permanent visa, a 1-year visa, a 2-year visa, what forms of information do I need to provide to the Mexican government to make this happen?
You need, the process now is changed, but as I was mentioning, in 2012 it changed. before you could come as a tourist, and while you were here as a tourist, you could switch your status to an FM3 or an FM2. Since the new temporary or permanent residency were implemented, now if you decide to move to Mexico, you need to start your process abroad. Right? You need to start the process at a Mexican consulate. You need to make an appointment. You need to walk in there with your appointment, and you need to show the right documentation in order to apply for permanent or temporary residency. Once, and if you were approved as a permanent or temporary, you need to travel into Mexico, and once here, show your visa that was issued and given to you at a consulate, show it upon entry, and that's when they would give you a FMM
card.
valid for 30 days for you to enter Mexico and refer to the nearest immigration office in your community. We have immigration offices all over the country. We have in every major city and every capital city of every state, and major airports and ports, seaports. So to complete the process and getting your actual green card, that can be the temporal or the permanente. So what do I need? You need to go to a consulate, you need to travel into Mexico, and you need to complete the process with a local immigration office. That's what you need to do in case that you want to obtain a different status apart from a tourist.
Okay.
Right?
Would you like to add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is when we talk with our clients, we always say that the whole process takes 3 different steps, which Alvaro already mentioned. The first one is to go at the Mexican consulate and with the consular interview and obtaining their visas. The second one is the get the correct registration with immigration agents in order to obtain the correct information included on the FMM card. And the third step, the third and last one, is will be completed down here, here in Mexico at any immigration office of your community to obtain your immigration card, the green card, the temporary or permanent residency card.
Okay.
Something that probably would be important that we can specify is that we have many ways to become a temporal or a permanente. For instance, if you are married to a Mexican or you are married to a permanent resident or a temporal resident in Mexico, let's say you have a friend who is a U.S. citizen and is living here, and then he or she is a temporal or a permanente. If this person marries to a person from a third country, I mean, like if marries to a person from Portugal, this temporal resident in Mexico marrying this person from Portugal, he or she can invite the Portuguese person to come to live here if they show the right documents. I mean, if they show that they are married with the marriage license, or if they have a common law and one of them moved first, then can help the other one, or if you have a Mexican-born child, these situations. But usually with the United States citizens and the Canadian citizens, people come down here to retire. And when they go to their consular interview, they need to show bank statements showing either that they have funds enough for their retirement, and I mean they request a specific amount of dollars to be saved there in their account, or a specific amount to be deposited every month. So basically, for Canadians and United States citizens, we request the statements, or they need to bring them to the consulate for their first step.
Now, my 7th question is, what is a visa?
What is a visa? Well, it's a good question because we have clients who confuse the word visa with the immigration card. So the visa is the document that they will obtain at the Mexican consulate, which will be glued on the passport. And this is the document that they need to show at the immigration agents at the moment that they come to Mexico, either by land, by plane, by on a boat, but it is important to make this difference between the visa. It's the document glued on the passport. Okay, it is valid for only one entry and for 6 months. That means that if your visa is issued today, it is valid for you to come to Mexico within 6 months. Actually, the visa indicates the issuance and expiration date. And once that you are here in Mexico, immigration agent will stamp the date of your entry here in Mexico. That will automatically cancel the visa, but it is an important document to submit at the moment that the person is trying to obtain their immigration card. Okay, so the people usually say, I need to renew my visa, or I lost my visa. No, what you have lost or what you need to renew is the immigration card, temporary or permanent immigration card, not the visa itself.
Okay.
Yeah, because a visa is, in general terms, a visa is a document that is issued by one government for you to travel to their country. I need a visa to enter Russia,
Okay.
so I need to go to the Russian embassy and apply for my visa. That allows me to get into a plane and land in Russia. Final decision if they allowed me to enter or not will be made by the officials at the airport. But at least I have the previous check that they gave me. And that's what the Mexican consulate do. After your appointment there and after checking your statements and your income and blah, 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 they issue a visa. But the visa is only the document issued at the consulate. But Remy was talking about a very important thing that people down here confuses, and they believe that the green cards that we are issued, the temporary or the permanent, they call them visa, and that's not correct. We're just trying to make a point on that part too.
Okay.
Because the visa is the actual document given by the consulate or the embassy.
Okay. Okay. Question number 8 is, what is a temporary resident in Mexico?
What does it do? Or?
A temporary resident.
Okay. Once that you are authorized as a temporary resident, you are allowed to live here. The first time that you arrive with this visa, you are allowed to be here for 1 year, only for 1 year always. And the next year you have to apply for 1, 2, or 3 years renewal. Okay. This visa, at least that you have a specific work permit, you're allowed to work. But if not, you need to apply for this special work permit. Allows you to live here with all of the benefits as a resident. You can also bring your foreign plated vehicle, which is not allowed for the permanent residents, only for temporals. Yep. Yeah, this is something important to note. And well, you still have the obligations that all the residents have to make the notification if you change your address, if you change your name, your nationality, if you change the employer that you are registered, or as I just say that you are able to get a work permit and a special work permit, which is different with permanent residents because they have the implicit work permit on their status. Okay, it is one of the difference with the permanent residents.
Okay.
And they are they are allowed to live here in Mexico not more than 4 years, because according to the immigration law, at the 4 years living here as a temporal, they have to change their status to become permanent. Or if they would like to keep as temporal, they would need to give up their current temporary status and then apply again for a new temporal status again.
Would they have to start with a 1 year and then move on, or could they apply for 2 or 3 years?
Oh no, they would need to give up the immigration card when they are almost at the 4th year, and then start all over again go to the consulate, apply again, and that implies to maybe they would have to, at the beginning when they obtain their first visa, they would have to prove an amount, which of course after 4 years it will be higher. It will be higher, but that is the procedure again, all over again.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay.
If you don't want to change for permanent, which we know people who have done it,
Oh, really? Okay.
mostly because they want to keep their car.
Oh, see. Okay. Okay. Question number 9 is, what documentation, what things do I need to do to be a temporary resident in Mexico?
The visa, Noemi already mentioned it. When you apply for a temporal visa at a consulate, they will issue the visa, and it's a sticker glued to your passport, and it has a validity of 180 days. And it mentions, the visa says, issued, let's say today, February 18. So you have March, April, June, July, August, September. Around September 17, September 15, that visa will expire. That means that when you go and you apply at the consulate, you have made up your mind. You're willing to come to Mexico, so you have to, to your to-do list, you have to go and apply for your temporary or your permanent. But it's not only go and apply, you need to complete the process of moving down here within that period of time, because if you're planning to move to Mexico 1 year from today and you go and you apply, of course the visa will expire before you. So you have to, you go and you apply and you get a document good for 6 months for you to travel down here and complete the process of becoming a resident down here.
Okay. What actually is a permanent resident in Mexico?
Okay. People who can apply and obtain their permanent visa the beginning, I mean, not being temporal for 4 years, it is also allowed at the consulate. Of course, the amounts that they need to prove are higher, but it is always possible. Okay, this permanent visa, it's focused for retired people. Actually, most of the consulate request their social security letter or approve that they are retired, they are already retired, in order that to prove that they won't come here to Mexico to keep working, okay, only for retired people. They have the benefits of the residents, either temporal or permanent. They are not allowed to bring their vehicles, their foreign vehicles. The work permit is implicit. You don't need a special permit or an authorization from immigration if this person would like to get a job. Only the corresponding notification. And well, they don't need to renew. This is one of the most important things. They don't need to renew their immigration card, at least that this card is stolen, that they lost it. But if not, they don't have any other situation to check with immigration. Just the corresponding notification. Change of address, which is the most common. Change of employer, in case that, if applicable, change of name, nationality, marital status. Those are the kind of
Marital
notifications.
status.
Okay. Okay. What do I need to become a permanent resident in Mexico?
Well, basically, you need, if you want to be a permanent from the beginning, at the time you make an appointment and you go to the consulate or the embassy, you need to fulfill the required documentation. I mean, 12 months of statements of showing certain amount of savings or investments. We can use IRAs, 401ks, all those things that are funds that eventually will be for retirement, right? Those, I believe. And also, if you still working, we can use your statements from your bank But sometimes some consulates require also letters from your employer to see that you're working, how much are you making. But also, there is another way to become a permanent if you have been a temporal. Let's say you are willing to come to live down here, and you're getting a small pension, Social Security, but it's good enough for you to become a temporal, but it's not enough for you to apply for permanente. No problem. You can get a temporal, you can come down here, make the renewals that Memi was talking already, and after 4 years of living as a temporal, you can automatically apply for permanente just because of the residency of the previous 4 years. You don't need to fulfill the financial requirements at the end. That's another. There's another option, for instance, if you came here because you're married to a Mexican or married to another temporary or permanent resident, you live here as a temporary for 2 years by marriage with that person, and you can apply then for permanent residency too. Or if you want to have a Mexican-born child, that would buy you immediately the permanent.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is while I'm in the United States or Canada or anywhere in the world, how do I find a Mexican embassy so that I can apply for a temporary or permanent visa?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we have been talking during this interview. Actually, is at the Mexican Consulate, that you choose. It is important to know that some consulates only accept people living in their areas, in their cities around, but most of them, they can accept people from anywhere. And but yeah, you have to apply there. We know too many people who always ask, can I apply for the visa here? I mean, trying to prove the economic solvency. No, the answer is no. They need to be outside of Mexico in order to apply.
Okay.
Most of the people goes to the consulates in the U.S., but we have a big number of consulates around the world in case that they need to go somewhere else. But yeah, the answer is that here in Mexico you cannot apply for the visa. It's only abroad. Okay. What it is important to notice that maybe you can try to get a visa for someone else. I mean, if your spouse, your children no older than 18 years, or someone that you can hire for your company. But in these cases, you can start the process here in Mexico with the Instituto Nacional de Migración ¿cómo te dice?
¿De qué?
Instituto Nacional de Migración.
The Immigration National Institute of Mexico.
Yeah, you can apply for the visa here. Once the process is authorized with immigration authority, then the person needs to go at a Mexican consulate abroad. But always it's that they need to visit the consulate.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Something that I would like to add is we shouldn't be proud of it because that means we have a lot of Mexicans to serve abroad, but we have the largest network of consulates that one country has in another. That means that due to the number of Mexicans living in the States, we have 50 Mexican consulates serving Mexicans in the States, and those places is where also foreigners willing to come to live down here can go and apply for the visas. Okay. So we have a lot of Mexican consulates in Texas and California, and we have in many other states. We have also like 7 or 8 consulates in Canada, and of course we have embassies all around the world. But something that it's also important, if you are a US citizen and you are willing to move to Mexico, and if you are showing statements to prove you have income or social security or investments, most likely your statements will be from a US bank and in US dollars. But if at the moment you are a US citizen who retired early and you have been living in Uruguay, and you want to go and apply to become a resident in Mexico at the Mexican embassy in Uruguay, and you bring your U.S. bank statements with you, that would create a problem in terms of the dollars, because it's not equal to the Mexican peso, not to the Uruguayan peso, and that. So for that, it would be very important to check exactly. We recommend sometimes that you apply in the country where you have your bank statements in. So that would be important. That's just some things to add, right? But we have clients who actually, we have a U.S. client who retired and moved to Uruguay, and apply from Uruguay was a little bit complicated for her.
Okay.
What is the actual procedure to apply for the permanent or temporary visa?
All of the consulate works with a appointment system. We need to get an appointment. Some of them works with this special website called Mexitel. You need to create an account and trying to get and fill out all the information requested, and then get your appointment. Okay. But some other works in a different way. They want the applicants send an email or call them with a phone call in order to get the appointments. Okay. Actually, part of our services is to help you with the appointment, because usually, and especially on the last months, it has been complicated to contact the consulate. It's been so hard, actually, for us who are involved in these procedures. It is complicated, and not all the consulates works with Mexitel, this website. So, or maybe it is if this person would like to apply at a consulate which works with Mexitel, but the appointment it's so complicated to get. Okay, and they open the calendar for 2 weeks, but if you are not at the right moment on the website, you lose your possibility to obtain your appointment for the following 2 weeks. So this is one of the services that we do on getting the appointment. Okay. We also have to check the specific consulate that you want to visit and see if they request an extra document. Okay, there is a regulation which would work for all of the consulates, but some of them also request extra documents. Yeah, and or due at the exchange rates, they set a fixed amount in order to prove the economic solvency, and it is not the same amount that will request a consulate in California that, for example, Omaha consulate. Okay, it is the difference on the amounts. So we always recommend, or if the people would like to work with us, we always check with the consulate, their official website, in order to obtain the specific requirements that they will need to check at the consular interview. Some of them, some consulate also will request a specific documents or letters or certification from the bank or the financial institutions, the signature, or they don't want the printed statements. So that kind of a specific requirements is what we try to have in advance, so the person, when we go to the consulate, don't have to be surprised that they are requesting this extra document, this extra letter, this certification from the bank. How do I get that now that I am at the interview? That's the thing. Okay, we try to prepare everything for the person to go at the consular interview, and everything is smooth and easy for them, so they can be granted with the visa and with any surprise like that. But it is always under the appointment system, trying to get all the paperwork. We also check the statements, the amounts, their special conditions in order to avoid any surprise. And this is what we offer.
Okay.
It's a very regular process, and it says like you always have to bring your passport and a copy of the passport and a picture and make a payment. But we know that that's for everybody, for every consulate. What we look at the specifics, as Noemi said, because there might be one consulate in Orlando that may request a letter from the local police, or there might be the consulate in Raleigh that may want to know that your employer is giving you a letter telling that you have been working there for the past 2 years and da 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 da. And some other consulate in Houston may request that the bank statements come stamped by your financial advisor from your bank. So those things, those details we check, and getting the appointments have been complicated. We have realized, unfortunately, unfortunately for the people, lucky for us, because that gives work. But the thing is, the bigger the city, the bigger the consulate. The larger the city, the bigger. Yeah. And we still have a lot of Mexican community living in small towns or across the border, and those consulates are pretty different to work with. So, and I know here in the area, a lot of people go to Texas and they look for Laredo, but that's not the only choice or the only option. There are on other 49 consulates that we may try to use.
Okay. Okay.
The first part of this question is, where are the Mexican consulates located? The second part of this question is, what is it that the consulates actually do? The third part of this question is, how do I set an appointment with one of these Mexican consulates?
Where they are located in many different cities. Basically, I can list them as Boston, New York City, Philadelphia. We have the major consulate in DC. We have a consulate in Raleigh. We have a consulate in Miami. We have a consulate in Orlando. We have consulates in Del Rio, Laredo, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas, New Orleans, El Paso, Albuquerque, Yuma, Phoenix, San Diego,
Sacramento, Santa Ana, San Bernardino,
Oxnard,
San Francisco,
Portland, Seattle, Chicago, Omaha, Boise, and Calgary, Montreal, Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto. So all those places, and many, we just listed like 25. So there's a lot of them where you can apply.
Okay.
There.
So what do the Mexican consulates do?
Well, they will.
I think you've kind of answered that, but
Yeah, they will receive the applicant. They will check their application form, the information, the personal information of the passport match with the form. But the most important thing is they will check the economic solvency. The statements and the amounts are according the guidelines, the regulations, and if applicable, their amounts and their specifications. Okay, once a day see that the applicant qualifies for the visa, the temporal or the permanent, what they do is the process of issuance of the visa. Okay, most of the consular works in this way. You go to your appointment early morning or afternoon, and they keep your passport, and you can get your passport with the visa in about late afternoon or 3-4 p.m. the same day. That is an advantage when the applicant wants to go apply for the visa and come back almost immediately. But some others say that they will work according the immigration
policies and criteria manual.
Because they have 10 working days to issue the visa, so you don't know if you can get your visa today, tomorrow, next week. And that is recommended for people who lives in the area, so they don't need to pay for the stay on the city of the consulate that they choose. But most of them works in this way, give you the passport on the same day. And of course they always say that they are not exempt of any problem with electricity, with the visa system, either on the system at the consulate or from Mexico. It depends, but if all the circumstances are regular, they can issue the visa on the same day.
Yeah, yeah. They have the 10 days according to the manual, but we only have like one or two that actually tell us that they may take longer. But most of them, they take you in the morning, and by noon or by afternoon, late afternoon, you have your visa with you. So they do it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, just-
Okay. Okay, now, this is part of the same question. How can I get an appointment at a Mexican consulate?
Oh, Noemi already mentioned it, and
You
she's
can hire us.
yeah, that would be a very good answer. but
That's the best way.
yeah, actually, but we through phone call, email. Some of them have their small internet system, like Philly. They have their own little web system where you go and you book your own appointment. But many of them work through the Mexitel web system that sometimes it gets busy. They only open a few weeks or a few days, and they open one day and there's many people trying to get the appointment, so it can be a little bit complicated in that sense. But it would be phone. But there was a few till last year that took walk-ins, but not anymore. Now all of them work only by appointment,
Okay.
and mostly with this situation of sanitary contingency.
Okay. Okay. One more question.
Why does everybody want a permanent visa? And are there times when a temporary visa may be more beneficial than a permanent visa?
Well, that's not everyone. The people who wants to keep their foreign vehicles here, they don't want it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But the reason would be because you don't need to renew. It's cheaper for you to get the permanent if you have the economic solvency and the resources to prove your income. It is cheaper. Okay, you don't need to renew. You have, as we mentioned it before, you have this work permit implicit. Of course, not too many people comes here for retirement and keep working, but we have the case of people who works as real agents. It's not so. It is not a job so hard. It's not a hard job, and it's something easy or. A nice job. You can meet people, you can do that, and well, you don't need this specific permit from immigration, and but people who wants to keep their vehicles, that they don't like.
They don't want.
it.
No, but it's basically the reason what I intended to say in that was that around here in Lakeside of Chapala, we have realized that a lot of people think that a temporal may not be as good as a permanente. And in general terms, I believe this has been created by the housing market. Because when you buy a property and then you want to sell it after a few years, or because you want to move, or you want a house with one single story, or you're moving back to the States, whatever is the reason, when you are a tourist and you bought a property and then you want to sell it and you remain as a tourist, you are going to be charged one rate of capital gains. But when you are a resident in the country, either temporal or permanente, the rate you have to pay on capital gains would be the same as we Mexican pay. So it's higher for a tourist and it's lower for a resident, which will be exactly the same for a Mexican. And this is this general belief that a permanent will be always have the same rate as the Mexican, but the temporary doesn't, or that can be removed at any idea. So many of the people that ask us about changing from temporal to permanente is because they own property and they want to make sure that if they have to sell their property at some point, they can deduct the capital gains. That's basically, but this has been with the real estate market and things like that, because there's a lot of, and people who actually, it's on the process of moving down here. They are in the process of buying property down here. They are just about to buy, but based on this real estate thing and advisory, they are focused and they say, we want permanent, we want permanent, we want permanent, and we want permanent. And even if they don't qualify, then they get temporal. After 1 year or 2 years, they say, okay, let's try to get it and try to get, that's like the thing. And we see it. We try to tell people many times, a temporal is very good. You can stay with it. It's not a problem. Actually, you can bring your car. We work also not only with the cars, but also we not have a very close, but we are in touch with the movers company when you decide to bring your household from the States or from Canada. And actually having a temporal is easier for them to handle than a permanent. So temporal has benefits too, but the general idea with the housing market is that a permanent is the best and the only one. And everybody is focused, but the temporal is good too. So that was the point of that question, I believe. And Remy pointed out very well, a temporal allows you to have your car here, and the permanent doesn't. You can bring your car at least for the first 4 years.
Okay. Okay. Would you like to add anything that?
Something that you think we are missing? Something you believe that
I
we're
think you
missing?
covered a lot.
Yeah, this is the services that we offer, the guidance from the beginning. If you are willing or you have the intention to
Move down
become
here.
a resident, we cover all the procedure since the guidance at the beginning to obtain the visa. We check your financial statements. We take care of your appointment. We will handle the contact with the consulate, and we prepare everything for you. Just go there, submit the paperwork, and be granted with your visa. Okay. We are in contact with the applicant when he or she are ready to come back to Mexico with a corresponding instructions to show their paperwork at immigration agents. Once here, we prepare all the paperwork needed to submit it at immigration office to become officially residents with their immigration card, temporary or permanent card. We take care of the renewals. Actually, we have this service. Your immigration card is due to expire. Would you like to work with us to work in the renew? Or if not, our job is to let you know or remind that your car will expire. Or if we know that you change your address, okay, our obligations and services to let you know that you have to notify immigration about that move. And this is something that we try to do. We are honest lawyers because some people is afraid to trust in lawyers. We always try to talk with the truth and according their specific situation, because all the people has a situation. We try to check all the possibilities for them, all the options, and they will choose. But this is something that our firm has, that we consider loyal and respectful for this, that we are honest always.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you both very much for your time.
Thank you, Bill.
And
thank you for the opportunity.
thank you.
I want to thank my attorneys for coming in to join me. They've been helping me for 6 years. They've saved me a lot of time and money. These are some of the most hardworking, honest people I've ever met in my life. The good thing about these two is, though their offices are in Guadalajara, they come to the Lake Chapala Society once a week. One time I met them at a restaurant. They've come to my house to provide papers for me. So if you're in the Ajijic area, the Chapala area, the Guadalajara area, or any of those cities, and you can get to Guadalajara, or you can get to Ajijic or to Chapala, and sometimes they might stop in your pueblo just for you. So drop these people a line. At the end of this video, we'll have all of the contact information that you would want to contact them so that you can save time and money. And if you haven't done so thus far, we're going to many different pueblos, towns, cities in Mexico, and we're going to be providing information on many different services, foods that you can enjoy in Mexico. So please hit the subscribe button. This is Bill the Geek in the backyard signing off.